In this video we're going to show you how to set up notifications in Sign-In app. Now, when your visitor arrives on site, you can ask them to select who they're here to see. That will then generate an email or an SMS notification to go to the host. Now this is the most common type of notification, and we'll show you how to set this up in Sign-In app in 3 easy steps. The first step is to add your hosts. Now this is the list that will appear when your visitor's selecting who they're here to see. Usually this would be a staff list, so for them to appear you're going to need to load your staff into Sign-In app. Now the good news is if you're already using Sign-In app for staff sign-in, you're already set. But if not, we can easily add staff by going to Manage in your online portal and then into your staff group. From here you can see 2 options on the right. We've got an add new and an import. We're going to go into importing staff in more detail in a future video. So for now we'll just click add new and we're going to enter our staff details. Now because we want to make sure that they receive an email notification, we're going to enter their email address. So once that's done, the second step is to set how we want to be notified, and you can do this for each member of staff. So if we continue where we left off with Josh, if we scroll down you'll see an option called when a visitor arrives, and it's this that determines what happens to the notification. So we're going to select to send an email. So when a visitor arrives and they select Josh, it's going to send him an email to let him know. Now you can select them individually for each staff member, or you can group edit it by going to select all above the staff list, and you'll notice that there's an option to edit all of the members of staff. So on this screen you can make a few different changes, but we're going to change when a visitor arrives for all of our staff, and we'll set them all to send an email for now. Okay, so the last step is to make sure we've got a custom field set. Now custom fields are what your visitors enter when they arrive, and we need to make sure one of those is going to ask for the name of the person they're there to see. And we do this by going to Manage in the top right. We'll go into our site and Configure. So this is the area of the system where you set up things like your branding, the messages that appear, and also your custom fields. So if you click Customize, you'll notice that we have some in by default. Visiting is one of the ones that we create when your site is created. And if we go to Edit Visiting, you'll see that it has the type of notify list. So you don't need to change that. If you're creating your own custom fields, just make sure that it has the field type of notify list. Another thing you can do on this screen is you can make visiting a required field. So if we tick this box, it's now going to not let the person sign in unless they select a host, and this makes sure that a notification is always sent. So now when your visitors sign in, you'll see they get presented with the custom fields. So we're now going to sign in as a visitor. When we get to the field for visiting, as they're typing, it will show us the names of the staff. When they select the staff member's name, that will then generate the notification when they sign in. So that's the most common notification that's used in Sign-In app, but we do have a second type of notification which is called a group notification. Now these are slightly different, and in that they get sent every time a member signs into that group. The visitor doesn't have to select a name of who they're here to see. So this is useful if you have a reception email address or a security email address that needs to be notified whenever anybody comes on site. So we'll set that up now. We'll do that by going to the Manage screen again. And if we scroll down to our groups, we'll go into the Visitors group. So this is only going to take effect for visitors. And if we scroll down, we'll see an option called Send an internal email when a visitor signs in. Now ticking that box allows us to type an email address, and now when anybody signs into that group, it will send an email. And you can also do that for when a visitor signs out. So that will then generate a notification without having to select a host. So that's the basics of notifications. but there's more you can do with Sign In App. So if we take a quick look at enhanced notifications, we're going to look at 3 additional things you can do with notifications in the app. So the first one is to notify multiple people. What we want to do here is when a notification is sent, we don't want it just to go to the host, but we also want it to go to nominated people other than the host. So to set up the system to notify multiple people, we're going to go to the Manage screen. We're going to go down to our staff group, select Manage, and in this scenario we're going to make a change to Katie Taylor. And what we're going to do is when Katie's guests arrive, we're actually going to notify different people in the group. So if you scroll down, you'll see notify other members of this group. If you click add, you'll then be able to select additional people to be notified. So now that we've saved those changes, when a guest comes in and they select that they're visiting Katie, it will now actually send a notification to Lynn and Susan as well. The second thing we're going to look at is customizing the list. Now, this is the list of staff members that appears when your guest selects the visiting field. So by default, this will show every repeat visitor group you have set up in the system. Now that's great for staff, but you may have repeat visitor groups that you don't want to show, such as contractors, or perhaps if you're a school, students. So you don't want those people to show when a person is selecting who they're visiting. So we can hide those easily by clicking on Manage, and then we're going to go down to our groups again, into contractors. And if we go to Edit Group, we scroll down, you'll see one of the options is Include Group in Notify List that's checked by default. So if we untick that box and save the changes, now the custom field visiting will not show that group when your visitor signs in. So the last thing we're going to look at is SMS notifications. So in addition to email notifications, which are free, you also have the option to send SMS or text messages. And now note there is an additional charge of those, so please be aware of that. But if you go to your staff group and click Manage, we're going to set up a text message notification for Charlotte. The way we'll do that is we'll scroll down, and where we previously set send an email, we're going to change that to either send a text message or send an email and text message. So you can do both types of notification. So now when a visitor signs in and selects Charlotte, as long as she's got the send a text message option and a mobile number, which we're just adding, it will send a text message to her. So as I mentioned, sending text messages uses what's called tokens. So if you want to check how many tokens you have available, if you click Manage in the top, scroll down to the bottom and select SMS tokens. You'll see in this instance, this client has 10 tokens remaining, so that's 10 notifications. You'll receive an email warning when you get down to 5, and you can add additional tokens from this screen as well. And you'll see that they're just priced in bundles. Okay, so that's a brief look at notifications in Sign In App. I hope that you've found that useful. If you have any questions, please get in touch with our support team by email or on live chat, or check out our user guide online at signinApp.com/docs.